I just want to warn everyone, the first 10 minutes of this podcast is all about the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So if you don't like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, hit fast forward.
Yeah, or if you don't want to hear about an awesome concert that we both ended up at and didn't even know either one of us were there.
Yeah.
We also talk about why you should talk to a counselor if you're having problems with your divorce. And also, we look into what to do if you get a cold pizza, and why are certain women disappearing and reappearing.
We got to think of a term for that, Doug.
Oh, make disappeared.
Sort of disappeared.
Make disappeared. Sort of disappeared. And then we give big shout out to Ben Affleck and whoever his wife is, and on him getting sober and out of rehab.
There you go.
So it's a great episode. Listen and enjoy. So episode 28.
That's crazy. Episode 28.
We're trucking along.
We really are, man. It's unbelievable.
Last time we had a special guest. This time it's just me and you.
It's just me and you, man.
So it's solo. We had a joint experience the other night. Didn't even know you were there. Had no idea. But just to give you an idea of what this is Vomiting Rainbows. This is episode 28. It's a podcast where I tell my buddy Mike stories that he knows nothing about. He chews them up and spits them back to me in a colorful rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
So we had this joint experience where one of my buddies, I'd just seen him down in L.A., and his good friend's band was up here last night, which was Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, and I got to say that, Doug, you are not in the music industry.
I am not.
No matter what concert I go to, no matter how hard, like I've done things where like I've had to like announce a band, like say like Rage Against the Machine, where like if you go backstage at a Rage Against the Machine show, if you're not like related to the band, like they don't let you anywhere. Right. So, it was like a miracle that I was there just to do a stage intro. So in these types of situations, I'll be there and all of a sudden I'll look over and Doug will be standing there going, Mike, what are you doing here? And I'll be like, what are you talking about? Like, you don't know I'm related to Tom Morello? Like,
right. Actually, speaking of which, Eric, who he also plays for Tom Morello in Street Sweeper Social Scene, or
yeah. One of Tom's bands. So your buddy plays in another band with Josh, the guitarist of the Chili Peppers.
Yeah, it's called Dot Hacker.
Dot Hacker,
and it's Klinghoffer, and then it has the two guys from Broken Bells.
Awesome.
So it's like and then Eric is with like Gnarls Barkley and a bunch of other bands. So he's the drummer. And
Klinghoffer was the studio guy for Gnarls Barkley.
Right. Same. Mm-hmm. I think that's probably how he and Eric met, because he's the studio guy also.
It was my first time seeing Josh live with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and the dude is a beast of a guitar player. I've been a fan of the Red Hot Chili Peppers probably since '88. Mm-hmm. I've seen them with every guitarist they've had that hasn't died.
Right.
And
how many has that been?
They go through a lot of guitarists, but I saw him with John. Right. I saw him with Dave Navarro. Saw him back. Like whatever.
Well, it was Frusciante first, right?
No, they went through like three guitarists. Like the thing is most people's point of reference for the Red Hot Chili Peppers probably starts with Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Right.
That was John Frusciante. Uh-huh. There was now I'm like what. Mother's Milk. There was Freaky Styley. There was like Uplift Mofo Party Plan. There was this early Chili Peppers catalog that is like super crazy, super funky, super nuts. Like nothing like the ballads they busted out. Like Under the Bridge was like a definite like a departing point for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like before that, it was heavy, it was funky, it was dirty, it was sexy, it was raunchy. And, now they've kind of become like this mid-rock ballad band sort of, which is kind of funky. But Josh Klinghoffer was so good, it was almost stunning. Like it was almost seeing someone on stage on like another level. And that's saying a lot. I mean, Flea's a great bass player, obviously. Chad is a great drummer. But he's like he was just on a whole other level than those guys. Anthony, I've always felt probably, I would say, starting in like 2002. It seems like it's really hard for him to sing, man. I mean, he was on stage, he was kneeling down reading lyrics.
Really?
To some of the new songs. That's what it looked like he was doing.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Where I was at, I could kind of see, and I'm like, really, dude? Like, really?
Oh, wow.
And I don't know if that's
that might have been when I had to walk all the way around to get beer and come back.
That's what it looked like he was doing. I don't know why else he'd be taking paper up and crumpling it up.
Right.
But yeah, and I mean, and it's just like as the years go on, it just seems harder and harder for him to sing. And even back in the day, like kind of in their heyday, like in the early to mid 90s, when Flea and Chad and the guitarists were always on such a high level, it always seemed like he kind of struggled to, live. I'm saying he just struggled to keep up with these guys, and I kind of felt the whole band kind of struggled to keep up with Josh. And I know a lot of people disagree. Oh, you're crazy. And I'm not saying I'm not a fan of the Red Chili Peppers. I mean, I love the band. I love their songs. I'm a huge fan, but I was so blown away by his guitar playing. It's unbelievable.
I'm surprised you haven't gone and seen Doc Hacker's been here a couple of times, and they're definitely fun to see. They're playing more the music that they want to play.
Yeah.
Because all of except for Broken Bells wrote all their own stuff, but Eric and Josh mostly play for bands that have already written their own music.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the departure where they get to write their own stuff. It's really good.
And that's what's interesting. It's because I've read interviews with Josh, and he talks about being compared to all the other guitarists and the Chili Peppers. And when you see him play live, he kind of puts his own twist on the old songs. And then the other thing is like you kind of realize like he kind of is just playing like say like their new stuff like Dark Necessities. Like he's kind of playing like in a Chili Pepper style, like in a Chili Pepper vibe. But at the same time, when he's live and he's going off, he's got. I mean, it's almost like the band's holding him back. It's crazy.
He is absolutely so talented, and his presence is huge.
Yeah,
I mean, it was definitely you couldn't help but look at him on the stage as opposed to everyone else that was there.
Yeah,
I mean, he was just going nuts.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, you can tell he's having the time of his life. You can't go that nuts, without feeling it. You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing is that. I'm sure for a lot of those guys in that band and just bands that have been around for 30-something years, 35 years, like, it feels a little, over time, it's got to feel a little different. You could tell that he is in the moment, man. And it was awesome. I mean, he blew me away, hands down. Like to the point where I was like, can you just do a guitar solo? Can the rest of you guys go get a hit off the oxygen tank and just let this dude shred?
Right. The other thing that I thought, so I met Anthony at a thing in LA like a while ago.
Yeah. And I met him a couple times. He's a great dude, man.
He was really
super
nice,
cool.
But that kind of creepy trucker stash thing that he's been rocking for a while, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Dude.
I would say out of the bands all the bands that are, that are out of all the bands that are kind of like that big, like been around for 35 years,
right?
Don't need to talk to anyone. I've met every member of that band except Josh multiple times, and they've always been cool. They've always been awesome. Chad is one of the coolest dudes you could ever hang out with. I'm a drummer. He's a drummer.
Right.
If you start talking drums with that guy, it's just like he just goes off. They're just awesome.
Yeah, and I would say the same. If when Josh is here next, we'll hang out. But he's like super chill.
I don't know if that's a good idea to introduce him to me.
Right? Maybe not.
Yeah, I'll be like, dude, you're so much better than those guys. He'll be like,
you
thanks,
should do your own. Wait, you are doing your own band.
Yeah. Exactly.
The last time I saw him, it was him and all the guys, and they'd just played the Regency Ballroom.
Yeah.
And they were loading all their own shit out, and they were like having to lift it up and put it in. And I'm like, is this weird for you guys? And they're like, it's totally weird.
Yeah. No, for sure.
They're like, we had to be our own techs tonight and set all of our own shit up.
Yep. That's cool though, man. And you can tell
it's humbling. Yeah.
He's in it for the love of the music, man. That's awesome.
Right.
So there you go. If you haven't seen the Chili Peppers on this tour, check it out. And I think if you listen to what I'm saying and then go see them, it'd be hard to disagree.
Yeah.
Dude is definitely on the next level. But the whole band was great. It was a fun show. They could have played a little bit longer.
They could have. Yeah, I was kind of shocked because I went to go on that beer run, and by the time I got back, they were off the stage.
Yeah, they played 20 songs.
Yeah.
Which for me, if you're playing the Oracle Arena, there's 25, 30,000. There's a lot of people in there. It's like,
and it was completely like wall to wall people.
Completely sold out. Yeah. It's like, dude, you play you play 30 songs. You at least come out and do a couple of the encores.
Right.
Did
they do no encores?
Because they did one encore, 3 songs.
Oh, okay.
Which, it's like, like you leave the stage, you come back. You leave the stage, you come back.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it felt like it was a cash-in show for those guys.
Oh, totally was.
Like, all right, good night. Woof.
Yeah, they were like back on the bus and like probably out of there at the same time I was getting my Uber.
Yeah, Sunday night. Yeah.
They're like,
Ka-ching!
Ka-ching. See ya. They do that all the time. They came up for Salesforce to do the big Salesforce Dreamforce conference.
Yeah.
Exact same thing. They came up. They did like an encore, 3 songs, probably the exact same set list as the other one.
Yeah.
And this was the first time that I'd seen Josh play with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and he had a broken ankle or broken leg, and he was just like they set him on a chair.
Awesome.
So it was definitely you could tell he was bummed.
But maybe that's why those guys are still around for 35 years. They treat it like a business. Like we get paid to do this, we play 20 songs, then we're off the stage, whatever.
And they're definitely professional.
Yeah.
So I mean, I enjoyed the concert. I thought they crushed it.
Yeah, it was a great show. I mean, that's the thing is it's weird because I have like conflicting feelings. I don't think they're the best they've ever been.
Right.
And Josh's performance was so good that it just detracted from everything else. But overall, yeah, it was a great concert.
But the other thing that I thought was amazing too was that light thing that they did all the way through so they had, to give you an idea of what this looked like, it looked like a whole bunch of like pendant lights that were hanging down, and they could move them at different heights and different levels, which wouldn't seem like much, but man, it just gave it made the whole arena feel like very intimate.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was a really neat effect.
Yeah.
So anyway, should we go on to some dark stuff now?
Yeah, move forward.
Let's go.
Like if you hate the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the last 10 minutes you just want to stab your ears. Like I hate the Chili Peppers.
Yeah, I mean you could always just fast forward.
This is true.
Yeah, we're not opposed to fast forwarding. If this dark stuff is too much for you, just fast forward through it.
Yeah, we should insert like little clips when we edit, like talking about the Chili Peppers for the next 10 minutes.
Yes, exactly.
Like bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Yeah. So this husband and wife, Anjum and Randall Coughlin, they lived in St. Petersburg, Missouri. Does that sound right?
St. Petersburg, Missouri?
No, St. Charles. So St. Charles, Illinois. Wow, that was great. Got the facts right on that one.
There you go.
So,
you named a city and a state. That's okay.
That's all right.
Yeah.
The mom and dad were going through a little bit of a divorce. And as we know on this show, when parents go through a divorce, it can get ugly.
Mm-hmm.
So they were living in different houses. They had 2 daughters that were both twins and 14. They were beloved by everyone. Yeah.
I just heard the past tense right there, beloved.
Oh, sorry, they're both 16.
Okay. But they were beloved.
Beloved. They had reported to friends that their parents were their home life was challenging.
Mm-hmm.
The police had been called to like previous domestic trouble calls at the house. They lived in different places, but at the father's house. So whenever they switched custody, apparently it was very traumatic for the 2 daughters.
Yeah. Well, it's got to be tough, right? I mean, there's a reason that the husband and wife are separated, right? And so the husband has a way of doing things, and the wife has a way of doing things, running the household, and that's a lot to put a kid through, right? I mean,
exactly.
Different rules, different parameters.
And so just before this, the wife, the ex-wife, had posted a picture of getting like a dozen red roses on her like desk.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently that did not make Randall very happy. So when they dropped them off for custody, he immediately took the 2 daughters back somewhere in the house.
Yeah.
Shot them and killed them.
Oh my God.
And then shot the wife. And then called 911, let them know his address, that he had just shot his wife and his 2 daughters, and he was going to shoot himself.
Oh man.
Then he went and locked himself in the bathroom and apparently offed himself. And then the wife came back to consciousness and then found her 2 daughters dead.
Ugh.
Did not know where the husband was.
Yeah.
And a neighbor had heard all this commotion, heard her screaming, came into the house, found her sitting in a pool of blood.
This is just a horrible story.
All of this is on heavy.com, where we get all of our great and lovely, warm and fuzzy news. But
Yeah, who's weirder, like heavy.com that posts all this depressing stuff, or the people that read it like us?
I think it's like a little bit of 50-50.
50-50? Okay.
Yeah, but so she starts screaming over and over again, and it's heartbreaking. You probably don't want to listen to that part, but she keeps saying, "My husband shot my kids. My daughters are dead," and the neighbor is trying to calm her down, and they can't. And if you look at her, like this Anjum Coughlin's like Instagram and Twitter, it's basically this woman was not exciting. Her life was like, the weather's great today. I got coffee at Starbucks.
That's my Twitter feed. Why you got a diss, Doug?
I'm just saying.
This is normal life. Not all of us know dudes who know guys in the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Right.
Okay, come on, man.
I'm just saying. even Heavy noted that it was not a very active Twitter.
Wasn't the most dynamic thing.
Dynamic would be the term that would be good. So she will survive, and she's in stable condition at the hospital.
How do you move on from something like that? Right?
Yeah, I think the big takeaway here is, if you're in a relationship and you're feeling like this.
Were there signs of him being violent before?
Yeah,
Okay.
The police had been called there several times, and both the daughters had said that to friends that their home life was really challenging.
I mean, like, if your kid is 16 and they're like, "I'm scared to go to dad's house."
Yeah,
I mean, I think
exactly.
that's when you call the courts and you're like, "Hey, listen, like, there's something going on. They don't feel safe." I mean, the whole idea of being a parent is to give your kid security, right? And I know divorces and things like that can be really complicated because there's all kinds of legal things attached to them. But at the same time, I mean, maybe he was okay early on in the separation, but maybe he's getting progressively more, out of his mind. And you got to let people know that, right? I mean, it's for the safety of everybody. I'm not saying that every dude who's divorced is going to do something like this to his family, but there's always that possibility.
Yeah. Do you remember the Simpsons when they were like, when is it Milhouse, the neighbor?
Yeah.
Or Milhouse, like his dad and mom divorced, and then he like went off to this place, and Homer goes to visit him, and it was like bachelor condos, and like they went in, everything was like bleak and
totally.
It was like really shitty.
Well, I mean that's it's been my experience in my short time on this planet that when relationships break off, marriages, especially with kids. I think the perception is that, my life will be better. It's usually a lot harder, because all the costs get doubled. I definitely understand getting away from someone who's violent, someone who's, psychopathic or physically harming you or your children, obviously. But, I see a lot of marriages end where it's really just kind of a lack of communication. They could have gone to some therapy. It might have taken a year or two to work through some things.
Right.
But they could have saved their marriage. And, people, I know it's kind of cliche to say, but I think people tend to bail on that pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever. And I think most of the people I know who have gone through kind of these divorce experiences, always end up in a really tough situation. Like you're saying, like where, they're living in cars so they can be near their kids.
Yeah.
It's a tough situation.
Well, so the answer to this is to get therapy and not to get 2 9mm handguns.
That's right. That's right.
I think that's it.
Yeah. Or, I mean, the thing is, like, if you know,
and I feel like that's a moral that we come across often.
Yeah. Or if you know that, your ex is armed, like you should be armed and packing when you go over there, right? Like if you have any inclination that the guy might shoot you, it's like,
or harm your daughter.
Yeah, be prepared to defend yourself. I mean, at least carry a samurai sword around or something.
Yeah, she knew that he was not stable.
Mm.
So let's go on to 2 other wonderful, stable gentlemen. These 2 guys are Bryce Minch and Austin Wright Callan. 2 guys from Anaheim, and they just ordered a pizza. They ordered a pizza from Thunder Burgers and Pizza.
Thunder Burgers?
Yeah. Sounds like
awesome.
a dope place.
It does.
Chain?
Is that chain or is that local?
I think that's only local in Anaheim. Probably only one location. And Garrett Peterson was the manager on duty, and they had a problem with their pizza. Their pizza was cold, so they asked for a free pizza. Garrett refused to give them the free pizza, and so they proceeded to almost beat him to death. A security guard came in, found Garrett on the ground, got one of the guys. They were immediately arrested. And
they couldn't beat up the security guard? They were just winded from beating up Garrett?
I guess they were winded from They actually fractured this guy's skull. Yeah. He's in critical condition, but now stable.
The thing is like when you talk about fracturing someone's skull, like it sounds like, oh my God, but it's not that hard to fracture someone's skull. Like I think a lot of people don't realize how easy it is to really hurt someone with your fists. Like people don't, like it's what like people think of fighting usually when they're in grade school, when kids are a lot smaller, they're not as strong. But like if you're an adult and you start throwing haymakers at someone's temple, like you're gonna crack their bone. Like it's just a matter of physics. Well, the body isn't, it can break.
Well, the other thing too is, let's say you're 5'10", the fall from 5'10" to the ground is enough to crack your skull as well.
Talking physics, yeah.
Exactly.
I think it's only like 8-10 pounds of pressure to break a human skull. It's not a lot.
No, and so I had a business. My business partner Brian. He was on the street and was putting money in a meter.
Yeah.
This guy was like, "Hey, can I have some of that money?" And Brian was like, "No." And the guy just hit him in the jaw.
Yeah.
And when he hit him in the jaw, he just went lights out, fell on the ground, and when he fell on the ground, it fractured his skull.
Yep.
In the back.
Yeah.
Luckily, he was okay, but it could have turned out worse. I've heard of people getting hit, falling down. Like one hit, they fall down and die from the impact.
It's not necessarily the punch; it's the fall of the concrete.
The fall of the ground. Yeah. So this guy, he had been. They've got him stabilized. All of his friends are kind of rallying behind him. This kid is facing. He's 22. The two of them are both 22.
How old's Garrett?
He was 33.
33.
He's so relatively young.
Yeah, he should have known better. He should have known better at 33. Just give him the pizza.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing, I thought Garrett was going to be like 18, 16, 17, like he's a high school kid at his first pizza job.
Right.
If he gives these guys the free pizza, the manager who is 33 is going to be like, oh, you're just giving pizza to your friends. You know what I mean? At 33 years old, dude, if there's a bunch of young kids and they're making an issue over like a cold pizza, customer service, man. I'm not justifying almost beating them to death, but you lose the 50 cents in pizza materials and just give them a pizza and then just, say, this is it. Like, don't come back here. We don't want you here. Right? We're refusing the right to serve you because you're too picky.
Well, I think the thing, these two kids seem like the fly off the handle type that like he probably was telling them, I'm not going to give you a free pizza. And then they are doing that kind of smile and then punch type thing.
Mm-hmm.
They just immediately come unhinged. I'm pretty sure because the videos that they have all online are extremely aggressive. They're like shooting AK-47s and like these guys were not on a good path.
Yeah.
Although I have videos of me shooting AK-47s.
I know. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll kind of keep up with that story, see what happens to them.
There's something that should be like there should be an added charge to a crime against a pizza guy. Pizza is such an awesome thing, and it's like, who knows? Maybe this pizza shop, Thunderbird Pizza, is going to have to be closed now because maybe Garrett at age 33 was a sole proprietor. It was like his pizza thing. He ran it. Mm-hmm. Now people in his neighborhood aren't going to be able to get the pizza. Like, you mess with a pizza dude, like that's.
And his girlfriend wrote that apparently on his GoFundMe page, for his medical bills that as he recovers, that he would probably spend all of that money on his dog.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Have we made a donation to his GoFundMe page yet?
He loves his dog. No, I was waiting for you to do it first.
Okay.
Then I'll be right after that.
I'll get on after the show. We'll do that.
All right, we'll both do that. And then kind of our final story, which I think is, we got it in light. How many girls recently have we done stories on who disappear for like a week or two and then come back unharmed?
Yeah.
Is it just me, or has it been a trend?
It seems like it's a little bit of a trend, kind of a vanishing trend, like a temporary vanishing.
Yeah. So there's this girl, Katarina Bitterman. She went missing. She was a high school student. She was a junior.
The problem is that these girls are getting vanished.
Right.
They're coming back, and the parents are refusing to talk about what happened.
Exactly.
So it could be aliens. It could be just them going out and, going out in the woods to try to survive. Like, no one's really saying what's going on. For all we know, there's a new trend in teenagers where, they go out in the wilderness. They're like, they see that TV show Naked and Afraid, and they're like, I'm going to go do that.
So this girl went missing like right after her 17th birthday. She went missing, and then they found her. So she lives in Parma, Ohio, and they found her in a house in Salem, Massachusetts.
You think witchcraft?
What?
You think witchcraft?
It could be witchcraft, but they also said that a 19-year-old man who is yet to be identified was also arrested at the house.
Yeah.
They said that she was found completely unharmed, but they're not talking about it.
I mean, what I think usually happens in these situations is, small town girl runs away with older boyfriend, and then they run out of money, they run out of drugs or whatever. They're kind of on like a party fling binge thing, and then they call mom or they reach out. Yeah, I'm in Salem. I don't know.
Again, I think Detective Mike is a little off on this one, because this girl was like a all-star student. She was very responsible. She had a boyfriend.
That wasn't the 19-year-old guy?
It wasn't the 19-year-old guy. And when she left the house, they found her cell phone on the floor, the door wide open, and her dog running outside.
Yeah, so for a teenager in 2017 to be without their cell phone, that's a red flag.
That's a big red flag.
Okay. You didn't give me those details.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying. I was just waiting to see if you're like Juju could figure it out.
Yeah. Huh.
So,
but she's back and she's safe, right?
She's back and she's safe, which is another thing that I think is just incredible. That like these, they always say within 48 hours, if they don't find them, it's highly likely that they're dead.
Yeah.
And
that's an important thing to know, people. Like, if you get abducted,
you need to
fight for your life.
Fight for your life.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of there.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. You really have to. This is the thing. You have to really think about this stuff before you get abducted. I remember, when I started, I used to read a lot of true crime as a teenager.
Right.
And I remember reading about all these psychopaths and the stuff that they would do and how quickly they would take people and the things they would do. And I remember just going, I'd rather die in a parking lot trying to gouge out this guy's eyes and take a butcher knife to the temple than...
If a dude is trying to take you into a car and drive you to the woods
for your life, man.
With a gun...
Yeah.
You're not coming... And you've seen their face...
Yeah.
You're never getting out of there.
Yeah. I mean, I always think that's exactly right. It's like, would I rather get shot or get tied up in the woods, tortured, and then shot?
Yeah. And then if they're abducting you in the Walgreens parking lot or some shit like that, you get shot there, at least you might be able to get help.
Yeah.
You get shot in the woods, you're fucked.
Listen back to some of our podcasts about the guy with the storage container.
Yeah.
On a 100-acre field. You don't want to end up in a storage container. You know what I mean?
Definitely not.
Ugh.
And this totally remember the last story that we did was on Laura Lynn Stacy. She was the one in Southern California who went missing for 7 days, and they found her wandering on the highway, and then they asked for privacy.
Yep.
And then Sherry Papini, who went missing for 2 weeks in Redding.
Yeah.
And then she ended up somewhere, and now the FBI still hasn't closed that case.
Yeah.
The other one's closed, so they're not divulging what happened.
There needs to be a think tank here. They need to be sharing information.
I think so. And then the final thing that we have to talk about is just big kudos to Ben Affleck.
What did Ben Affleck do?
He got out of rehab.
Oh, right on, man.
Yeah, he's back, man. He's back out of rehab.
I didn't know that he had issues.
I didn't either. So I read another cutting edge news source that I go to for great stories, which is TMZ.
Yeah.
What
was he in for? Drugs, alcohol, both, everything?
Alcohol.
Okay.
Alcohol addiction. So he struggled with that apparently for a while, and that also broke up his marriage.
Who is he married to? Somebody famous?
Yeah.
It's okay.
I'm sure everybody here is
screaming at us.
Yeah, listening to this and being like, it's fucking what's her name?
Yeah.
Yeah. So her.
Well, good for him, man.
All right. So that was our podcast in a nutshell.
What number was it?
That was 28.
Wow.
We talked, I think we talked about a bunch of great stuff. Please let us know what you think about the podcast. If you watched it live or if you listened to it online, you can follow us at We Vomit Rainbows on Facebook.com. And then you can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
And do we decide on an official streaming platform?
Yeah, we're on Facebook right now. We're going Facebook Live.
Okay, so if you're listening to this podcast at a later date, Tuesdays around 7 p.m.-ish, you want to go to do the Facebook Live.
Yeah, and we'll be on it.
Do I sound like an ancient person? Do the Facebook Live.
Do the Facebook Live. Send us comments, questions to contact at Vomiting Rainbows, and visit us at vomitingrainbows.com.